Hello, hello. Thanks so much for joining us today. We have a great workshop planned for you. Today we'll be focusing on the new NITRO Reports features. So some interesting new things that James, our resident NITRO guru, has to share with us today. But before we jump into it, I just wanted to take care of a couple of housekeeping items. First of all, we're going to keep this relatively high level. So we'll be, of course, covering the reports features, but if you do have something where you know hyper specific to your organization that you really want to dive into one-on-one, just let us know. We're here for you. Also, feel free to ask questions. We love to hear from you. We put the workshops on because we want to help you. We want this to be an asset to you and for you to learn something and get value out of this. So love to hear your questions as we're going through, and happy to help with anything that you have there. And then lastly, this will be recorded. So if you do need to reference back to it, this will be uploaded to our YouTube channel as well as to our website. That'll be actually the crowcanyon.help site, and it'll be uploaded there by the end of the day. So feel free to reference that as well as any of our other workshops. You can see all of them on crowcanyon.help. So now, without any further ado, I'd like to go ahead and hand things over to James to teach us all about the new NITRO Reports features.
Thanks, Krista. Appreciate that. Yeah, thank you all for joining today. We're going to talk about a few new features we've got for our NITRO reporting tool. There's a few things hopefully you'll find useful and make your lives a little easier as you're using reports and accessing the settings and potentially organizing your reports on the report center. So a few things we'll touch on there. So I guess I'll dive right into it so we can go ahead and get going. Let me go ahead and make myself the presenter and I'll show my screen here. Okay, great. So you should be seeing my screen now. And what I'm going to start with is this new feature we've added. On this screen here, you can see it. There's this little settings link that we've added onto our reporting tool. That is a configurable setting in the site settings, but what it does is it allows you to go to this report directly from the interface of the report, which is a step up because if you're using our help desk or if you built out a bunch of reports on a site that you're using, it can be pretty difficult to find the specific report you're looking for. We've managed that a couple of ways, but one of the ways we're looking at it is through putting the settings link directly in the toolbar of the report. So you can go ahead and click that and get over to those settings for that particular report. It's going to open up this dialog box, which is going to give you the kind of the typical report building interface that you are used to. You can always preview your report as always. You can see what changes you make on the left side, how they correspond to what that report looks like on the right side. So you can go through and make those tweaks right in the page that you're on. Historically, you'd have to go either to the report center or in some cases to the reports manager area, and this could be a little tricky to find what you're looking for. There's a search tool up here that's been there for a while. So if you know your report name, you can find it, but it can be a little unwieldy to go look for this. So we've given you a better way to go and find that report settings interface so you can go and make changes. And once you save it, it's reflected on the page behind here. And then you simply hit refresh a couple times. Once is usually enough, but if you don't see the changes right away, you might have to hit refresh a couple times. Ultimately, if you don't see the changes, you can always clear the browser cache. But I think with more recent versions of NITRO, that's been less necessary to go and clear that browser cache. So it's a nice little trick to get to the settings page pretty quickly. And so what I'm going to do is talk about our next feature here, which is to have your reports filtered automatically by a previous or current time period. And here, I'll show you what I mean by that. So this kind of dovetails nicely with a third feature we've added, which is the ability to show the report toolbar in the preview of the report settings. So it gives you another way to really look at how your report is going to act when you hit some of these buttons up here, or if you want to try different filters, you can do that. If you want to try different things or even save it within the report settings themselves, you can do that. So that gives you a way to access these settings and these features without having to actually even publish the report onto a web page. You could keep the report entirely in the report center interface. Don't even have to expose that onto a page, and you'd have access to those features for filtering, printing, emailing, saving as a PNG. So that could be useful in a lot of scenarios where you don't necessarily have a page where you want that report to be displayed, or you just want to keep it semi-private and want to have that report at your disposal for reporting to higher ups, whatever the case may be, or just you're just interested in for your own sake what's going on with the system, what's happening with our tickets or whatever it is you're reporting off of. But I did want to touch on this date range. So within our reporting tool, we now have this ability to select a time period, which is it could be current or previous, and then it'll select a date range of the last day, current day, previous or current week, previous or current month, previous or current quarter, and previous or current year. So kind of pre-baked in filters that make it easy to select those options so you can change up what that report looks like. And so in a simple scenario, I'm going to look at the previous quarter. And what this is going to do is bring me all the tickets that were created in the previous quarter, which would be January, February, March of 2005, since we're sitting here in April of 2025, not 2005. That was quite a year, but it was a long time ago. But yeah, so looking at the previous quarter of 2025 for January, February, March. So that's going to be relative to where you are, obviously, in the calendar year, what you're going to get out of this, right? And so if we do current quarter, it's going to change it up and just look at April, since we only have the one quarter in the month thus far. But you can do similar things with previous week, which is going to look at what happened in the last week. Of course, we had some tickets created in March last week, and we have some tickets created in April last week, so we can see those that differentiation right here. And if you want to clear your filters, you can go ahead and clear that filter. It goes back to what you originally had it set up, which is based on the filter you have for that view as typically. So this is showing all tickets that have been created over time. Now here's, in preparation for this webinar, here's a really interesting feature of this, which I thought could be useful in certain scenarios. Now, think about this. You have your tickets that are created over the period of time, however long you have the help desk running for. And you want to see kind of like an aging report. You want to see what tickets were closed in the last quarter or the last month or the last week, but when were those actually created? So you weren't able to really get that information easily previously. Maybe you have to do some manipulation with your views, maybe do some export to Excel to really get that information. But we played around with this, and actually what you can do here is we can set this report to look at all tickets created. You're looking at the created date on the x-axis. But then for your filtering, which is managed through here, you could actually select a different date field, right? So we could select close date. So now this is going to be looking at the close date, and it's going to be using the filter you set here. So if I want to go look at all the tickets closed in the last quarter, so I'll do previous. Let me do that again. Sometimes it doesn't quite work. All right, so previous quarter. You can see it's a different look and feel here, right? It's a different set of data, because now we're looking at tickets that were created in May 2024, but weren't closed. I mean, obviously, hopefully this isn't a real scenario on your side, but there's a ticket created in May 2024 that wasn't closed until this past quarter. So the close date meets the criteria of this filter, but we're still looking at the created date as what is shown on the report. So that gives you a nice way to sort of get an aging report of things that may have happened in the past. So I thought that was a really neat use case here for these combination of showing close date on the form or on the report. Showing created date on the report, but then filtering by close date to get the different look. Now, of course, you always have the option here to use this filter report. This has been there for a while, but and this gets you a little more granular, perhaps, in how you can look at the different tickets. You can do more of an advanced filter. That's always been there, but this gives you a nice quick hit, like, okay, what's going on? What was my previous quarter? What tickets were closed in that previous quarter? Because you've set their close date here. So I thought that was a pretty good feature to add in and show some interesting elements of your system that you wouldn't otherwise easily be able to get to. right? So we can clear that filter, go back to this. So you see, even without having saved this report or published it or put it on a page, we've been able to manipulate it and go through few different iterations of what it could potentially look like. And then you can even without editing or saving it, you can download it as a report. So it's going to save on my local drive, download it as an image. So you have those options all right within here. So it's all about ease of use, ease of getting to the things you need to see to make your world easier to manage, work world easier to manage. So finally, the last feature I wanted to talk about was the ability to tag reports and also categorize them by list name. So let me go over here to our NITRO Reports. And we've added this tab over here called Report Center. And what that allows you to do is, first of all, enable the search, which you can toggle that on or off. But then you also have the option to group your reports in the Report Center interface. So this is our Report Center over here. And you can see I've got them grouped by list name. So if I come back over here and I toggle that to none and save, what's going to happen is I'm going to come back to my Report Center. I'm going to refresh that, and I'm going to see all the reports listed out in sort of a unwieldy kind of list. It's kind of a long list that's hard to you got to scroll all the way down, see what you're looking for, and you see here it is. It's just kind of a long list of reports. But to make it easier reviewing, you can change that over to list name. That's a real simple use case where you can just look at your reports by what list they happen to be configured on. But you can also add tagging, which I will in just a moment. I just wanted to show you that this refreshed and with the separated out by list name here. And so you can expand or collapse those sections and make it easier to see the reports that you're looking for. So normally, or not normally, but previously, if you didn't have this tagging, this staff load report maybe way down below here and you can't really see it, but now it's right here and you have instant access to it right here in the screen. So much easier way of managing that piece of it. But let's say you wanted to show different types of reports based on a tag rather than a list type, like maybe have multiple reports across multiple lists that talk about KPIs, for instance. So you could come in here and create a tag called KPI. And we're going to separate by tags now. We're going to save that. So at the first, what's going to happen is if I come back here and refresh, I'm going to get that long list of reports again. So it's not, separated out, there's no collapsing going on here. Actually, also it just shows it as untagged and has all the reports listed out just as untagged. But I can go into any one of these and mark it as a KPI report, and that would bring it into a categorization of KPI. So I'm going to do that with this one, tickets created by category by month. That's kind of a key performance indicator right there. I'm going to come down to my tags list. Of course, I have to refresh this page because I create that tag, and then you have to come in and edit your report. So let me go ahead and refresh that real quick. Come down here and select our tag as KPI. Let some of those other values filter in, and then save. So once we've identified one of our reports with a tag, we can come over here, refresh this, and we'll see those KPI tagged reports right at the top, and then the untagged reports would be underneath that. Right there. So you have your KPI reports. And of course, you could go through and edit multiple reports. We'll have to edit them one at a time and add that KPI into it, or add that tag, whatever it is, or you have multiple tags to do that. But you can go through and tag your reports. So sort of an alternative to categorizing your reports and organizing your reports beyond just the list name. But very simply, if you wanted to just use the list name as your sorting mechanism, that's perfectly fine. I think that makes a lot of sense. But it depends on what you want to do with it. But yeah, so those are really the main things I wanted to talk about. We're going to be looking at this reporting tool with adding some other features in here, some other updates. So look for additional updates coming down the line, but those are the key ones I wanted to highlight today as advancements. Again, I mean, nothing really groundbreaking as far as a big change, but it does, sometimes the littlest things, the small things can really make a big difference in how you're managing your day to day and how you're managing your use of Nitro. So, we always like to highlight those things that might make your life a little easier throughout. One thing I didn't cover, I just want to touch back real quick on the settings toggle here. This is toggled in the Nitro site settings. So if we come over to our Nitro site settings, Nitro configurations, you'll find this under Nitro app settings where you can, for within this site, you can decide whether to show the report settings button in the toolbar or not. So that's where you can toggle that on or off. So that's up to you if you want to show it. Of course, as you can see on this page, you have to show that toolbar in the web part itself to see that. But if you have that there, you have the toolbar showing, and you want that settings to be there, go ahead. If you want to show the toolbar without the settings, that's fine too. Though sometimes for our reports, we like to just hide the header and hide the toolbar and just have it sitting there and then just go and edit it in the report center or in the report manager settings. But yeah, like I said, those are the things I wanted to cover today. I know it's a little short and sweet, but just a quick hit, and we'll be looking at what we're going to schedule for our next session. Probably not next week. I'll be on vacation, and the week after that, I think we'll be a little tight. So in a couple of weeks, we'll be looking at maybe doing another one of these workshops. But certainly, feel free to answer the survey at the end of this to let us know if there are any particular topics that you want to cover, and we'll look at incorporating that into our workshop schedule. But yeah, with that, Chris, anything else you want to add for this workshop?
I appreciate you showing us all these new features, James. Really, really helpful. I know I learned a lot. I hope everyone else did too. And yeah, just as James said, we'd love to hear from you. Any topics that you'd like to see us cover in our workshops, let us know. And who knows, that might just be the next one.
That's right.
All right.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you all for coming today. Appreciate it, and have a nice rest of your day. Hey, bye, Krista.
Bye, James. Bye, everyone.